All right, hello, folks. We're doing something we don't normally do very often, which is going live here. You'll see me put on my old man glasses here and there and try to read what's going on here if we get any comments. Going to start this off going slow, informal as I'll get out. I may get up and go get a cup of coffee or something. So if I get up, grab some coffee, and sit back down, just bear with us. Um, as most of you know, Joe boxes here in Colombia, South America. Uh, Boy, we've got an experience all the time down here. Uh, which there's experiences anywhere in the world that you live, but Colombia is a little bit unique. I'll give you a little bit of Colombia story here. They had a day for Saint Carmen, I believe it's called. I don't know. I'm not Catholic, so I don't know these sainted days and don't really celebrate them or anything like that. But blessings to those who do. Nothing against you. But they had uh, this saint. Evidently, is the saint for drivers, bus drivers, taxi drivers, people driving cars, trucks, or wagons, I suppose. And they have this Saint Day here in Colombia, and as I said, it's for driver protection. If it's explained to me correctly, and so yesterday these cats decide they're going to get drunk all night long. Now I'm talking about taxi drivers, truck drivers, and such. Public drivers that would drive the public or the public's goods. And I put up, they're beeping the horns going up and down the highway every hour, but they're getting drunk while they're doing this. And I didn't find this out till real early in the morning yesterday. Uh, all the taxis were lined up going up and down the street outside of the gated community we live in, and they're out there getting hog face drunk, good old Southern hog drunk, and before they go to work to drive people around town. And I was like, boy, wow, you know, wow. Of course, where I come from, we don't cotton to that, and we don't do anything like that. And all I can say is, wow, wow. So again, if I get up and go get a cup of coffee or something, or if you hear Joe come through, he's got his few hours that he uses during the day. He's using some of his free time, and he has time of the evenings as his time as well. But he's doing PlayStation 5. He's got one. He's lucky he's able to get one of these late PlayStations, and that's what he chooses to spend his time doing when he finishes school and whatnot, and everything else. So we do. He does that in his own time. We'll go to work out at 3 o'clock. He'll work for about an hour and a half, and then about 6:30 he'll go back and he'll work out again. So he's got full days. He's not relying on boxing for his sole occupation or income. Uh, he's going to be one of the 9 people out of 1,000 people that will be accepted into the United States Naval Academy. We have no doubt about that. His grades are excellent. Everything he touches is doing pretty darn good at. So we're very happy. We thank God around here all the time uh, with all the problems we have. But all the problems we typically have are outside problems that come in, and we forecast these problems. But want to talk to you a little bit about boxing in Colombia. Uh, Hell of a damn place for this sport. If you want to play soccer, everybody's a soccer coach here. Everybody's a professional Pele here. Soccer's flourishing, but boxing and other sports are not flourishing at all. They're not expanding in growth, or just boxing in Colombia is just not up to snuff with boxing in the U.S., Canada, Mexico, uh, or Europe, or places like that. So anyway, Joe put out a challenge because he can't get any. It goes down to league boxing in a city. They have city leagues, and those city leagues comprise the state league. So when he goes to a city league, and this has happened in 3 states and multiple towns and cities, they're, yeah, come, over the telephone. And then when they see you and realize who he is, they're like, no, you can't fight our kids. They realize very quickly. Uh, we go into a gym anywhere, they're like, nah, yeah, yeah, great. And then they see Joe hitting bags or doing other types of work, and whoa, hang on, hold on a minute. Of course, this wouldn't happen in the U.S. Wouldn't happen in Canada, I don't believe. I know it would not happen in Mexico. There would always be challenges in the UK, uh, the United States, Mexico, and Panama. I can speak for Panama because Joe has fought in Panama City, knocked a guy out lickety split there, and uh, came back. It was a quick thing, nothing to it. Like nothing else, there's not much to it. Uh, Respect Benjamin from South Wales. We love England, and we love Wales, and we love the whole UK. You guys rock, and we love you guys. You guys in the UK have been more good with us than any other country. And much love to you, and thank you for the good remarks and the love that you send out. It does nothing but motivate Joe. Makes me feel good, but it makes Joe work harder. And much love to you. Thank you so much. Uh, so we're, uh, as I said from the beginning, I may get up and go get a cup of coffee or something. Well, all this informal, friends talking, and but we got a taker for from a sparring trainer in Bogota that said he's a man, a grown man, and maybe I don't know much about him. I know he's been boxing training for years, so he's probably been training as near as old as Joe is. But we're going. Thank you so much. We are going to uh, take him up on our offer because we've got a car in Bogota and we need to go pick it up. So we're going to take him up uh, on the offer. Seems to be a very nice guy. The only reservation I have, which I'm going to converse back and forth with him and get on the WhatsApp or telephone with him and make sure that where we're going, we're not being set up, or make sure everything's on the up and up. And most people know I pack a pistol when I go out in this crazy country. I go into a gym, there's protection in the gym bag. I have to. We're living in a place where a lot of bad things happen here. So, Anyway, the gentleman had been conversing back and forth, and he was talking about how he knew that there was problems in the boxing community here and with these league boxing. And as I was saying before, Joe's been, yeah, come on down here to about 8 to 10 cities we went to for the league boxing, and all the towns or bigger cities have the state boxing. And as soon as they get a load of Joe, they're like, no, we can't let you compete with our kids. We can't compete with the likes of this. So we're lucky that way. Um, you know what? When we come, uh, we will be coming there. And when we come, we will definitely hook up. Definitely. Much love to you. Much love. And we know, and Joe knows, he'll get backed up there. And he'll get competitions there. And of course, he just turned 15. Happy birthday to Joe. Uh, I don't really give the date out, as y'all know, but he's 15 now, and he knows some whoopings are coming, but we just can't get it to go on here, you know. But the gentleman in Bogota seemed real nice. We're going to go there. We're going to spar him if it's still open. We're going to put an offer out to him that, you know, spread the word at the gym's there. The few days that we'll come up there and stay there, it would be nice to get 2 or 3 sparring sessions in with multiple people and multiple rounds, obviously. So, uh, oh, he did. Uh, Matt Steele, I'm trying to place him, and forgive me for him. Uh, and I'll say apologize, Matt, but I'm not placing you right now. But that doesn't mean nothing. I've been hit in the head once too many times myself, and my memory's not very good, uh, especially with names. If I see and I see the account, I was like, that's him. Gosh, we go back and forth and all this. But we're going to go there. One of the things that's just concerning to me was the gentleman had told me that uh, I'm not really qualified to go be going around and looking at boxing trainers and telling them you should do this and you shouldn't do that. And if I felt real comfortable with myself to do that, even though I've been in and out of boxing 50 years, I still wouldn't do that. I don't feel comfortable doing that. Here's what I feel comfortable doing. Someone that has a lot more experience than me, especially that's older than I am, I'm all ears and all respect. Even those that may be a lot younger than I am, but are a lot better than I am. Again, I'm all ears, all respect. But this gentleman had said that he wanted me to look at him and see what was going on, and he sent me a little video. In the video, I'm not really sure if he's aware of what he's doing, but I believe he is doing uh, the way I see it now. It looks like a very old uh, 70s type of pendulum Soviet style boxing technique, but the way he's erect in his stance, it looks like it's got a Cubanesque flair to it. And a lot of people don't even really know what that is. That old Cuban style that came from the old Soviet Union style, but that's standing more erect, and they did it in the Teofilo Stevenson, in my view, the greatest amateur heavyweight boxer of all time. He always stood very erect, and he just 1-2 a guy to death, an uppercut here and there, a hook. Uh, but that's what this gentleman seemed to have a a movement. He wasn't giving any punches, but that's what the movement looked like. And I don't know. I can't speak to that, but that looks like the style, a type of a style like that. Uh, but I always say, this one thing, advice I will give to all trainers is you can realize your worth and salt as a trainer or coach when you, uh, this way. If you've got a one size fits all and you are relying on the style for everyone, uh, you're possibly a good trainer at that style. And you may be a good coach, but you're waning in the boxing training department, in my humble opinion. Back in the 60s and early to mid 70s, you would go into a boxing gym and a trainer, which would normally be the trainer, would size you up, look at you for about a week, get you figured out, put you over there in the corner with the guys you're moving like. In other words, we didn't have an assembly line of boxers. And everybody can argue about the best systems. That's not, I don't do that. I just give my opinions. But I really don't think, in my opinion, that that's a good way to be training kids today. And I believe it's evident and it's showing up in uh, the not necessarily the style or the technique, but the unwillingness of guys to get in a ring and cut loose with punches, be devastating, go dead on your opponent, and do that from the start of to the finish of the fight. I see a lot of laying back and waiting and waiting and waiting. And uh, Diego, one of the kids that's working with me right now, he doesn't have this style, but uh, to combat what easily defeat that, and it's not getting in anybody's head today. Um, and people have come up with things. They say, I know how to combat the peekaboo style. I know how to combat the Philly style. Really? Uh, Knowing how to combat it and getting a kid or a young man or a man in the ring to combat it's two different things. And usually when I hear that, I'm listening to someone that knows in their head how to combat something. And we're all armchair great quarterbacks and soccer players, aren't we? We see exactly watching the other guy what he needs to do, right? But when it comes down to getting someone to do it, it's you're in different territory. Uh, but now, see, I'm an old man, so I go around the block 10 times and get off point to the point I'm making at the moment. But the the better trainer is going to fit a stylistic form to a fighter that will work for that fighter. And if you if you don't if you don't size a boy up and look at his strengths and weaknesses and train that boy and or coach, whatever you want to call it today, that boy uh, appropriately to his strengths and his weaknesses, you're not really a boxing trainer. Uh, Maybe a coach, and a coach gets the blood pumping and the rah rah going and all that, and that's great. But as far as training, that wouldn't be a, a good training. So the one size that fits all, that's the only thing I would say about other trainers. You go into Gym A, they're training in this style, and that's all so all the people there can train these young men or young girls at. Now that there's girls boxing, you go into a gym and you see different styles, and you see a trainer or trainers adapting their training methods to a young man's strengths and weaknesses and formulating a style and mechanisms for them to successfully use in the ring, and you're in a good place. So I don't really typically want to go bashing other trainers, but the uh, I'm just not seeing a lot of that today. It's totally different than it was when I was a kid uh, in those aspects. And that's what's happening here is a kid's being brought through a process, and a lot of these kids, their heart is not being tested. They'll go from one amateur event to the next amateur event to the next amateur event on through to what we're watching in a lot of these professional boxing matches is uh, I'm going to get more points than you. I'm going to lay back and play chess and ensure that I do that. So there's a lot of waiting. Even the hard hitters, such as, and this guy, I've been a little critical on him, but he's a puncher. He's got a left from way out there. And that is, who's the guy, the Tank Davis. That kid can hit. Tank Davis is a puncher. But sometimes it takes 3 or 4 to 5 rounds before he can get to going. And he wouldn't make it in the ring with a Roberto Duran. He wouldn't make it in the ring with a Sugar Ray Leonard. There's no comparison. I could care less who says what. I guarantee you that met with the proper skilled aggression, half these guys today that are champions would not be champions. And the other thing is the going through the assembly line boxing mill, we are losing the heart and the love of the actual sport. These boys aren't even wanting to fight each other anymore. And if you can't get good fights, there's no need for us to wonder why the popularity of boxing is dropping. Back in up until at some point, and I assume probably in the 90s, but before then, in the 80s and the 70s, we got all the fights we wanted to see. Uh, the only person that was ducking anybody that I was ever aware of in the 1970s would have been in the later 70s when Ali was getting older and wanted to, rightfully so now, hang on to some belts. And he was able to hold on to one of them. One of them got stripped because they wouldn't play that game back then. And one of them, he blackmailed the WBA into giving him $250,000 cash to retire. And that's where it started. That's where I believe the mess started. And now we got all these plethora of champions and all these weight divisions, and they even created extra weight divisions. And the weight divisions don't bother me so much as the unwillingness for these cross promotions and these fighters to demand that they fight. And I'm not really looking for unification. We all should know who the heavyweight champion of the world is right now. Every single one of us should know that. He's a lineal. Love him or hate him, he's the champion. And in these other weight classes, you can look down. We typically know. Sometimes we get a little confused on that, myself included, and we up another guy to another guy. But in general, we know who the real champions are. it's them playing games and making the money, and nobody's against anybody making money. It's just the part of I'm going to have champion A, B, D, C, E, F here, and they're all going to be fighting people in that line, and they're all going to be making an extreme amount of money, uh, and that's diminishing the sport. This sport should be the most popular sport in the world. This should be the most exciting. Uh, Boxers should be quadruple, or I don't know these words to put to it, but they should be way up here in the money, and the NFL quarterback down here, the hockey player, or basketball player, that should be way down here, way down there. These boxers should be making the big bucks, and they would be if they'd fight each other. So you look at the world heavyweight champion now, and really there's one. There's belts all over, but there's one. It is Fury. Uh, but I'm becoming less of a fan even with him because what's it over here fighting the MMA guy? What is this? He should be fighting Usyk, and Usyk should be fighting him. Uh, that's who I look at as the number one guy and the number two guy. They need to be fighting each other as they did religiously in the 70s. And so that's my take on that. But uh, for the boxing trainer that we're going to be going to Bogota. Hope he's got 20 other guys that'll spar with him. Uh, we're not looking to knock people spark out and sparring. We're looking for people to challenge and tax Joe, which is something we haven't gotten over a year. He's just literally mowed through everybody, holding back, nervous to punch, moving slow because he knows if he moves fast, he could accidentally whop somebody. So we're looking for good, hard sparring, no holdbacks, and see what happens. And I believe I do know what's going to happen because the past history typically repeats itself, and he's just getting better and better, and we're blessed that way. So I truly know what's going to happen here. I don't have to believe that it's factual process we're going through here, but we'll have to see. But God bless that guy, that trainer in Bogota for stepping up. God bless him. Joe, could I get you to do me a favor, son? You making your green drink? The green one?
No, it's good.
Oh, okay. When you're done with that, take you get you some spirulina if you like. Just pour me some coffee and a little milk in there if you would, son. Uh, yeah, we're up on 2 o'clock. We'll be going at 3 o'clock to uh, start his first workout. He'll work out 2 times today. Of course, I don't ask him to do that or have him do that. He just likes doing it. He's very, very, very committed to it. And I always say uh, to the hardest worker, to the victor goes the spoils. And Joe's out working everybody and around here. So we do great with that. And I just wanted to thank everybody. We're getting on average 100 subscribers a day right now. Very lucky, very fortunate. I've put out some old fights or put up some old fights on Joe's YouTube account here to garner interest specifically to do that. So I've done these things by design and by purpose. Uh, and I'm putting these old fights up because I want the younger guys to look at these old fights and see how these guys really went at it. Uh, there's just no comparison. There are great fighters today. We have great fights today, but yesteryear we had them almost on a constant basis, and we're just seeing too much uh, decline, in my old humble opinion, in boxing. And when I was younger in the 70s, early 70s, we looked back in time and we thought that Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, I could go on with the names. We thought they were better than the guys in the early 60s or the 50s. Uh, Today, you young people look back and you're saying Mike Tyson would do this, Larry Holmes would do that, uh, Muhammad Ali. See, so it's all in the quality of what you young people are seeing, and you can't fool you young people. That's You can fool people my age every day of the week till the cows come home. But that's a little bit more difficult to fooling you young people. Now, some things you can be fooled on. You need the experience to not have the wisdom to know the difference. But a lot of you young folks, you young guys, have been fooled so much that you're looking for it. And you guys are really remarkable. You got a lot of bad that you young guys are dealing with right now, with societal issues and all these other issues. My hat comes off to the young people. You guys rock. You got it going on. Don't let no one tell you different. You got quirks, just like my generation had quirks, just like my dad's did, and my granddad's. And to you young people that you'll know, sitting here with Joe Allen, my son, going from me uh, to Joe's grandpa, my daddy, to my grandpa, uh, we go all the way back to the 1880s up in this house, all the way back to the 1880s, where we've talked to the one that's talked to the one that's talked to the one. So we take the history very seriously up in here. But so anyway, I've went around the block 20 or 30 times. Don't really have anybody asking us questions, but I think I got one here. Uh, and Brian, you know we love you, man. I want to tell you that straight up. And Joe loves you too, brother. Uh, yeah, hopefully the hard sparring will be coming quick. Brian, I don't know how long you've been on here, but we got to go to Bogota to pick our car up. And when we go do that, we've got a boxing trainer in Bogota that says that he himself will spar with Joe uh, in the event that they can't get some other boys to spar him. But they think they can get some folks. And hard sparring, and we'll put it all up. Whether uh, the video I would rather put out, to be honest with you guys, is overcoming adversity is the greatest key to being in any combat sport. Any combat sport. Uh, your will can be broke quite easily. It's very fragile. All our will is. Uh, and when that gets broke, your ability to overcome that and push through that. And so I'm looking for somebody to really, and people don't understand this at the beginning. Joe was with a Venezuelan professional and he got beat up once or twice a week, and that guy beat him. I mean, whooped up on him, because I wanted to find out, does Joe really want to do this or not? If he gets popped around and enough bloody lip, bloody nose, it'll break him and he'll give up. And that's the time to figure it out. Way later is not, you know. You can either adapt to combat sport or you can't. But he adapted to it and wanted more and pushed forward, and eventually he was knocking that guy around. And to the point that guy don't want to spar with him. See, that guy's like, no, 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 no. There was a separation period there where I got to work with Joe, and then we had him back, the professional, and he was like, no, 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 good deal. Uh, We go medium with Joe or light with Joe, but not hard. It's no, I ain't doing that. I got to work, you see, and so we'll see what happens when we do go to Bogota. Not sure if it's probably going to be towards the tail end of this month or towards the beginning of next month. I don't know. We'll see if this falls apart. Got to thoroughly check this guy out, make sure everything's on the up and up, make sure everything's good and safe. I am in a third world country, so we have to watch. And we've been set up, or the attempt's been made to set us up several times. And thank goodness through that adversity, Joe's just mowed through everything. You know, uh, we do that, and we know it means that you go through it, and you go through it quick. So that's what we got going on right now. Told you guys the trainer wanted me to look at him. I'm not really qualified to critique other trainers. If I were, there's no way I would do that. At any rate, uh, you want to see a good trainer, you look at the fruits he bears. It's as simple as that. A trainer could have one guy, or he could have 21 guys in his gym. Uh, they can all be muscled out the yin yang. They can all be this, all be that. They can have the best equipment, look the best in the world, but it doesn't mean nothing till you get in that ring and you realize the fruit of good training. So uh, uh, that's what I look at. But the guys got that, like I said, a pendulum type, old Soviet type, which I like. That's just a good boxing with that. It kind of a mix between the old Soviet style and a little bit of a newer, but would be old to most of you, a old 70s, 80s Cuban style to it, where they're more erect than the Soviets were in the styles. You know, really a communist style. I don't know no other way to put it, and I don't mean to offend the style by calling it with putting a D or a R or a C in front of it. I'm just saying the old communist way they used to train, and but we'll just see what happens with that. Get that car picked up, and I will put some money up, and Joe will have some matches in Cartagena, uh, probably right before, right after Christmas or around that time. We'll have to see, and we will go to the coastal city of Cartagena, beautiful place, and spend a week and get in a little tournament up there or something. Those boys will fight too. I don't know about Bogota, the capital here, but I know them boys up in Cartagena will fight. Um, but we'll just have to see what happens and go with the process on that. As far as boxing in general goes, I wish we'd see more good fights. Really sick to death, of boxing in general. I am pro boxing because I'm sick of it in the amateurs because I'm seeing bad decisions left and right, awful judging, awful refing. Uh, in the professional ranks, I'm more upset about what I'm not seeing, which is good fights. These boys aren't fighting each other, and it needs to stop. And they need to fight more. Uh, so I don't know what can be done to fix that. I kind of would like an international body or national bodies to oversee boxing a little bit better. But then again, I don't want to see that because I don't want to see boxing controlled to the point where boxing is no longer boxing. And typically, that's what happens with sport when, when too much control is garnered over the sport. You just look at football. Hell, football players today are nothing. They're stronger. maybe have more endurance than players of yesteryear, but uh, there's no way they could survive under the rules and the conditions of the game in the 60s and 70s. They just couldn't. All their muscularity and strength would go out the door, and they'd be laying in the field on the field crying, and the boxers would be laying on the canvas crying, and that's just my strong opinion to that. But we'll see. But to everybody, thank you for watching this. I don't normally do these live things. God bless everybody for coming on here. Thank you, Benjamin. Thank you, Brian, for uh, the comments. We love everybody that watches us later, whoever does. Blessings to you for watching. Uh, thank you so much. And again, we'll just have to wait and see what happens with Joe and see what the direction's going to lead. And obviously, when we get back to the United States, it'll be wide open. Not looking to rush anything. All these trainers and kids are looking to rush, 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 and it's good to continue having the fights, but uh, you don't have to rush. The good ones is the great ones. It's going to be known, and but the experience with which to the ones that do rush, there's a good positive to that, and you guys that just are going from tournament to tournament, fight to fight, it's doing nothing but uh, giving you a great, great experience. So much love to everybody. Thank you for watching this. I'm going to end this stream, and we certainly appreciate it. Maybe I'll do some lives here or there, but maybe once a month. But we'll just have to see what happens. Thanks, everybody.